idea was to look at similar solidarity networks in Switzerland. And this panel was prepared by Urs Seckinger, Sarah Schiliger, together with Berhanu Tesfaye, whom I will introduce to you later on. 2 days ago, Urs Seckinger said he cannot come because he is sick, and he asked me to replace him, which I reluctantly did. And this morning, Sarah Schiliger sent an SMS that she had was heißt Schüttelfrost? A high fever during the night, and she's very sorry, but she cannot come. So, in a way, I feel relieved because it's a higher intervention, and we have, I think, to try to do together to get the discussion going. What we will have is Berhanu Tesfaye. He is a founder member of the Autonome Schule Zürich, the Autonomy School of Zürich, which is a self-organization of migrants in Switzerland, migrants who have not been granted asylum status, some of them without papers, but I think he will tell you all of that. And he will talk to us about the work they are doing. The panel had been prepared as a talk. It was not supposed to be inputs, it was supposed to be talks. And we will try to get as far as we come, and I think then we are enough people here with their own experiences, with their own views, and we will continue the discussion. So the first, maybe Berhanu is originally from Ethiopia, and I'm very happy to have you here, like the KEESA campaign, when we were thinking about who to invite to talk about migrants' self-organization in Switzerland. It was Urs from Zürich, but also even here in Basel we have known about the ASZ, and we are very happy to have you here. And I also have to mention that Berhanu couldn't be with us last night because he had to travel to St. Gallen. They were given a recognition award by the Paul Grüninger Stiftung, together with 10,000 Swiss francs. And I think that's a very well reserved recognition, because ASZ at the moment is in a very critical situation. They have lost the space where they were teaching, because they could have it as intermediate use, some buildings, and I think you had to change 15 times so far.
Yeah, we are preparing for the 16th time.
And they are now also intermediately, they managed to get some space. I'm sure you will talk to us about it. And they have launched a petition for them to be able to stay where they are, because these premises belong to the city of Zurich. And it's about lobbying the city of Zurich that they grant this space for a long time. But I'm sure we will hear more about it from you. So the talk that was prepared said we will first talk about exclusion and discrimination and get some examples from Berhanu, and Sarah would also have provided some examples from her research. So Berhanu, I hand over to you.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, it's nice to have you, because our school needs you. Because I am not here only as brown, Ethiopian as a rejected asylum seeker, but I am as part of the school. My history goes in Switzerland for the last 50 years, and I'm sharing you what I have seen, what I have encountered, and the reality just outside of this door. Be it in Zurich, or in Basel, or in other places. I don't want to go through these slippery waters such as discrimination, xenophobia, racial profiling, seclusion and exclusion. These are soups which we perceive them. Without our perception, these things that couldn't happen. We perceive them, we practice them, then they are there. Since they are there, we couldn't say they don't exist. They exist. But we have to take what's there, then we have to try and come together, either to minimize them. Abolition couldn't be a thing, but this seclusion and other things, they can happen in workplace, they can happen in a school, they can happen in the streets, even sometimes within families. And my experience is about discrimination. I'm going to tell you 3 cases, 3 people, 3 part of it. They are individuals in our school, and another 2 which is out of the school. I will name them person A, B, C, because these people, they live in reality. Then when we interview them, they want they want to be anonymous, and we don't want to expose their names. And what happened was in May 2015, we were preparing a newspaper. Our newspaper is called Papierlosen Zeitung.
It's outside.
It's outside here. I have here also the exemplar. That is Papierlosen Zeitung. That is a newspaper without people without papers. These people, some statistics in this country, but they are living here. And some of them, they don't appear on the statistics of this country, but they are not living here. Then I will tell you the first. What is exactly to be an asylum seeker or a rejected asylum seeker in Switzerland? My experience in Zurich, I can tell you the first person can be here around us. What happened is in 2008, there was a new system in the ZASB system of Switzerland. And Zurich is the first capital who takes all at the beginning into practice. And asylum seekers were given what you call Migrants. This is a gift card, which was 10 francs. And you cannot put it on the machine, and you can't buy any ticket or anything. So you have to change this gift card to cash. And there was a place called Kanonengasse, except the place is called Kasama. It's near Kanonengasse in Zurich. And there were 3 friends. They just traded their money there. They were standing in a bus stop. Then a police car went by. Exactly what happened is they just turned back and 3 of them were controlled. During this control, one of them is more than 10 years in Switzerland. But he's a rejected asylum seeker. He have only a small paper from his emergency center that states his name and a photograph. What happened is he was asked for his ID card, 3 of them. Then they were taken to the next police post. They take the fingerprints there. 2 of them, they were just controlled before, and when they see the fingerprints, they found the fingerprints of these 2 people, and they just say, oh, you 2, you can go. But the one who stayed 10 years, he was told, hey, we don't have any data about your fingerprint. This is a person who lived 10 years in different places, and he also has worked in 3 different restaurants. In the meantime, he has paid taxes. In the meantime, he used to pay for his living. And they took him, they just checked his fingerprints. They said, no, we don't have the data, and he has to go to the other place to take fingerprints. He was taken to a place called Kaserne. They have got more facilities, I think, there. They took the fingerprints, then they just take saliva for DNA test, and they say, hey, are you still here? We have told you to go out before 3 or 4 years. What are you doing here? That was the question raised. A person half an hour before was not in their document. Now he's an illegal. He's just living illegally in the country. And he was taken to, and he was in prison. He just, and overnight he was in prison, and then after that, he was called, he was by a jury, and then the judge said, well, since you are illegal, you have to pay 100 francs fine and 3 months or 1,800 francs.
3 months in prison.
Or 3 months in prison or 1,800 francs. And as he has told me, he just said, that time they said, okay, this 3 months prison of 1,800 francs will be sustained for 2 years. Unless and otherwise you are not controlled in the coming 2 years. That means he has got a probation time of 2 years. That, yeah, one can sit in his home for 2 years in order to avoid this 1,800 francs. I don't know. But we are all human beings. Then we move from one place to another. And he was set free with this caution and with 100 francs. Then the 100 francs must be paid with what he earns. It's about 8 francs 60 per day. Then he has to give up at least 12 days food and other things in order to pay this. Now, it happens, some of them, when they don't have any relatives or something, or they don't have any organization or some group who can pay that one, it will accumulate. Then the accumulation goes to Belgium. He has to serve prison terms. It's not, the problem is not serving prison terms. It's not that. What comes next is maybe there will be a deportation. And there will be a facilitation of deportation from the prison. It depends from which country you come or what type of relation you have with the embassies and other things. That was the first time, the first control interiors, and then the next time he was going to school, or he was coming to our school. That time our school was in Gutterbach, and we used the line 31. And next, one stop before the school, there is a stop called Bäckereianlage. Then there were about a group of police, and they just entered in the bus, and they asked for ID cards. He was one of the students of our school, and he has got the same ID as was before, and he has to go to the police station, and he was fined 300 francs. Then the 1,800 francs was recalled, and now he has to serve either prison term or he has to pay this 2,100 francs. Then, when he was in prison, because the prison, there is the state prison or the city police prison, then this one is breaking the law of foreigners. The other one is the breaking immigration, being an asylum seeker is breaking an immigration law, and then that goes to the migration. And people from the migration office, they came and asked the people to leave the country within a short time. If they say no, they will tell them, we'll put you in prison. Sometimes there could be a psychological breakup in the meantime with the people. And then what happened to this is they told him to leave the country, and he said, I don't have any document and I don't have any country to leave. And on the third day, on the fourth day, came the immigration officer and said, just leave the country. And he said, no. Then they brought him a paper that says, you are not allowed to enter the Schengen for the coming 5 years. And on such caution, he was freed. And he told us that he paid the 2,000 francs with the help of friends, and then he just repaid them in, what do you call it, rats? Installment, ja. Dann, das ist so. And then he told us exactly when he see the police car passing by, always his heart beats fastly, and that was what he told us. This is the first.
Thank you very much. I think I would like to come in here with some of what Sarah would have told us. Not that I have her detailed knowledge, but it's about home workers, women from other countries who come here as employees in households to look after sick people, and who sometimes come like for 3 months in one row without any free time, and how difficult it is for those women to negotiate about their rights as workers. Because first of all, they don't know the rights they have, they don't know the country, and they are completely depending on the families they stay with. And she has done Sarah has done extensive research on the situation of these women, and it's something that has been growing during the last 10 or 15 years, that home workers are being imported to look after especially elderly sick people. So this is a whole range of migrants who live amongst us without us seeing them, because they have very long working hours, and normally you will not meet them in the streets. And Berhanu, then we wanted to, I think the example you have given is telling enough, and I think we should go on to the next question, which is changes in the policy on foreigners, because in the last 10 years I think the legislation with regard to immigration and foreigners is the law that has changed most. And from your own experience, you have seen that happening. So maybe you can tell us a bit about that.
Well, the most unstable law in this country is the asylum law. I can say that because since 2000, that means since I came here, it's revised. Sometimes I have to stop. I have stopped to count it. I have stopped how many revisions I've done. Then the revision itself, as my friend told me, the asylum law has grown from 1 article to 144 articles. I don't know, I'm not a lawyer or a historian to know how the Bundesverfassung has grown in the last century. I don't know. But when I came in 2000, the procedure of asylum seeking was like this, because I have to share with you my experience. Someone who wants to ask asylum goes to the police and report. Then the police will send him to a place where registration is done. Maybe that can be a centrum like KEESA or Müller, or now I think it's abolished in Geneva. There's also one street where you can just ask asylum, and then after you ask asylum, you just fill forms. After the form, either you are sent to different centers. These centers now I think have grown a bit, and then you have got the first interview in these centers, the first instance center. Then after the first interview, people have got, most of them, they have got a transfer either to different cantons. Then after the cantons, they are placed in the minors, and they wait for the second interview. If the second interview is, if they have got a long time, their stay is longer than 1 year during that time, I'm talking about 2000, you can work. There is a possibility without acceptance, people can work. When we say work, for me, I don't want to put a cap on it. You can work, and you can earn something so that you can not see the handouts that you are given. Then this was almost practiced till the person had got a second interview and then the first rejection or second, when somebody has got 2 negatives. In some cantons you can work, but in Zurich, if somebody has got 2 negatives from the immigration in Bern, he's not allowed to work. Until then, starting from 2000 until 2006, this practice was more or less here in Switzerland. Then came another revision of 2006, and that was practiced in 2007-8. People were advised with Gemeindes, they just, in the meantime, they just visit 3 months German course. If they are working, they can just finance themselves. But the drastic change of the 2007-8 practice of asylum law produced, I say, the quarters or residents, some in the middle of the town of Zurich and some in the outskirts of Zurich. And they were called emergency centers. And people with 2 negatives, they were sent to these emergency centers. And these emergency centers, in line with them was an organization was formed there. There was, till then, there was only what we call it asylum organization, and the Gemeindes, the counties of the Gemeindes. In line with this practice, we have got a private equity firm advising and administering rejected asylum seekers and asylum seekers. It's called the Organization of Refugee Service, and we call it ORS.
Yes.
It's a private equity firm. When we see it this way, for me, I know I have passed through that and I've got all the experience. It's just profiting on human beings. Here comes profit before humanity. Because in the same status, the people who are administered by Gemeindes, it depends on which Gemeinde you are, because here the decentralization is completely another thing. We couldn't compare one Gemeinde with the other. We don't. But with other organizations, Zurich, if somebody, a rejected asylum seeker, is advised by or administered by other organizations, Zurich and ORS, then in between there is the learning cost. The pocket money they gave they are not the same. That means that is the profit where it goes. The accommodations are also, I can just put them in different levels. And the same worries, they just administer the rejected asylum or asylum seeker centers or these emergency centers. And then comes, there is no medical insurance or insurance. I think in Swiss law, everybody who is here has to have an insurance. It's an obligation. But well, for these people, or for us, the ORS can say, oh, your medical expenses is till 500. More than that, we can help you. This is what's happening. And what lives here is, when you earn a coupon and if you cannot move and if you don't have any daily plan, what will happen to you? How can people survive? They survive with the help of sleeping pills. As to me, I have seen it in my own eyes. We are producing people which we do not save them sometimes. Or we are producing people who needs a lot of medication. If somebody took, I'm not a medical expert, 6 months or 8 months a sleeping pill, to take him out of that, maybe we need a year and a half to treat him. Because it was just an ascending order and we have to use a descending order medication. Yeah, and then the other case was when I came, he had got a negative, I can ask a request or in my reappeal. I can extend it to be 1 month. Till the end of the month, I have got the right to reappeal. But after this law, the thumb is there is a 5 days. Yeah, within 5 days. An asylum seeker who is here, finding a lawyer, finding money for a lawyer, or even knowing the lawyers where there are free or without cost, the addresses. Yeah, this is too terrible. Sometimes this decision is done like in places like Basel or KEESA within the centers. And now,
Can I just try to see whether I got you correctly?
Yeah.
If you get a negative decision, you only have 5 days to place an appeal,
yeah.
an appeal to that. And before it was a month.
It was a month.
Okay, so that's one example of how the new legislation has shrunk the space for asylum seekers.
Asylum seekers, yeah.
Thanks.
And the other thing is, these things are done in centers. If a person is here for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and now they say there is a 120 days decision procedure, the 3 months decision procedure, within 3 months, and I know someone who can help me. 90 days, it's 90 days. 90 to 120 days. And then now is another thing. What came to with the situation is the 8 francs 60 per day. That means 60 francs per week. It was a Migrogutschein. We have done a lot of things to abolish that. We have analyzed it in terms of cost. In terms of cost. If you buy Migrogutschein, there is a transport cost and other things. Or you have to go and collect it. It's just collecting the same cash from the next bank. It's just collecting the same cash from the next bank. Then, after a lot of struggle, they have abolished it. Now, everyone in Zurich, they just take their money in cash, which plays a great role, because they don't have only to go to Migros. They can go to a Turkish shop or to an Afghan shop or to any place where things are very cheap. Because Migros keeps its own standard, it's an international.
And it's also the freedom of choice.
Well, the freedom of choice is the second thing as to me. The necessity is the primary. Then with this asylum law change came another law. Sometimes we say it as an asylum, we say it fair law. Because the ZASB, he was the director of the migration, and this law came during his time, and we call it dynamisierung, after dynamation or something. This is changing people from one place to another, from one corner of Zurich to the other corner of Zurich. These are the emergency centers. I can tell you which are. Maybe if you know Zurich, there is a bunker in Uster, where about 30 to 40 rejected asylum seekers live in the bunker, and then the air is ventilated, the ventilation. And if you are near the bunker, you can not have any reception for your telephone or something. You have to go at least 4 to 5 minutes walk just to get the reception. And there is also in Urdorf, it's the same, these two are bunkers. And there was, now we say there was in Jugstrasse, there was also, and then in Adelswil, Kemptal, because Kemptal is an interesting place. When we used to have Migrogutschein, this is Kemptal, here is Winterthur, and here is Efretico. Here we can find Migros. Here is the train line. Either you have to move 1 hour or 1 hour here, because you don't have the cash to buy your ticket. And one of our students wrote a joke in the first newspaper that we owned. He said, hey, I went to the automat and I said, Kemptal winter tour. Then I put the Migros machine card in it, and he told me, please go to the next Migros filial. That is exactly what happens in Cape Town. And let I be back to this dynamism or dynamation. That means people, they report every week in Zurich immigration so that they are here. Then after they go to the social department will tell them where to go. At the beginning, it was very, very horrendous because the people, they don't have any ticket to go from one place to another. And the first thing what will come, and we all know if we forget our tickets, that was now it's about 100 francs, at the time was 80 francs. Then if you don't pay it, it will be 120, it will accumulate. And then the end station is again. How I call it? Prison? Yeah, you have to go there, you have to serve for that money.
I think you give us a very vivid, it's possible for us to really live it with you, how impossible it is to function under these circumstances. But we wanted also to talk about the other side of what can asylum seekers and migrants do to help themselves. And I think the Autonome Schule Zürich is a very good example. And right now you are fighting to get space for the school. And maybe you can talk about that space. What is the significance of that space for you?
Oh.
I mean, it's where you can have classes, but it's also more than just that.
Yeah, here comes the problem. Because for the last 7 years, as I told you, the situation was worsening. Then people have to think, why here? For me, the solution is not here. For me, as an asylum seeker, always I say, the solution is not here. Some say some of the solution is here, some say some of the solution is outside here. I am here just for a protection. I need protection till the rain stopped. That rain is repression, the rule of dictators, the rule of minorities, the exclusion of one group. That is the solution. As we are here, it was in 2008, we started a small movement. Our time point was the Migros culture, because we share it all. We need money to transport, to pay for transport, to buy and chips or something. We need it. Then what we did is, it was a small group. We said, okay, here the citizens, they use Xenophobia. No, they pay cash. we just take the numbers, rub them, control the number and the pin. If it is 10 francs worth, we write on it 10 francs. And we ask people to change us. Then we have to find a place to do that. We need computers, because we have to check them online. What we did is, we just discussed with our Swiss friends. They told us, hey, we can avail you on the first time 1,000 francs, collect 1,000 francs worth. We go with Schule. We started with that. And there, here, when things come together, they come together at once. If they fall apart, they fall apart at once. And this movement was a bit bigger. And then some people, they just come, they collect money from their neighborhood and they come and tell us, we need 1,000 francs, 300 francs, good share. Then what we have to do is, we have to collect good shares from different camps and bring them in Kasama. We have to check all of them because, what do you call it, trust wins all. And we have to check it. We have got 3 computers, we check everyone, and we have got our own samples for checking. If something fails, the person is responsible. And it starts like that, and then the group was at about 150. Every week we just cook, we talk about our problems. In which language? Sometimes in sign language, sometimes with peers, sometimes with translation. Then we say, okay, why don't we ask the canton about our situation? And different ideas were there, but we know for most of the Christians, we say, the church is the most secured place in the world. And we went to a church we occupied on the 19th of December 2008. That was our first beginning to form. From that, the Autonome Schule Zürich is born out of this war. And during that time, our questions were to abolish the Migrants, to regularize us, all asylum seekers in the country, which we don't know which number stays there. Some say 20,000, some say 25, some say 18, now we don't know. And then they have to stop. This is 7 days movement during the time, and then they say, hey, we couldn't do that, but if we have got a level of B1 in German, and if someone is more than 5 years here, and if he's not criminal, if he doesn't have any, what you call deferred payment or something, if everything is clean, we just can see every dossier. Then we say, hey, it's not a solution, but it's part of a solution. We can save some, Then we went to Rot Fabric, it's a well-known place, and we told them, yeah, after this, we start school there, and we were about 17 or 21, and we started the school with 3 volunteers. And our opportunity that we have got a because one of our activists was good in German proficiency, and he said, I'm a rejected asylum seeker, I can teach here and I can organize it. Still till now, even if he has got the right idea or he has got this alphabetical resident permits, he is working with the school, he is administrating the school. Yeah, and we couldn't stay in Rhodes Public, and then we had to move to Kalkbreite. Kalkbreite was also an occupied place in the middle of the town, and it's a hotspot area for a police control everything. we have to live with it. We went there. Then after Kalkbreite, we went somewhere, then in 2010, we saw a barrack where the floor belongs to the government and the ceiling belongs to an engineer. And we know there is a conflict between these two. We have to profit out of it, and we occupy that. And we make it a school. From 2010 till 2012, we were there. What happened in the meantime? It was very interesting in this country. For me, it's interesting. Rather than building people with 900 million Swiss franc, there was a referendum to build a police and security department by demolishing our school and an old building that was next to it. Then we have to leave that place, we left it. And we went to a place called Partnerstrasse. There it was the second phase of our movement, because we were fed up of these occupied houses. Because when we are there, always we have got vulnerable people with us, the abgewiesenen Asylsuchende or the rejected asylum seekers. When they are controlled, they go to automatic, they go to prison. Then we have to just compromise within the group, and then we say, oh, we have got a room for the school, just for 1 year. And we pay 500 francs a month. We were in Baderstrasse for 1 year, then after that we were in Bachmannstrasse, is there, Allstetten. When we were in Allstetten, they told us it's a hotspot and they want to just control us. What we did is, we just fenced one part of the school on the street. We just made a human shield, and then after that, more or less, the controls are not exactly with us, but we have to leave that place, and in the meantime, we just started negotiation with the government. And last year, they just gave us a place, but the place was not enough to accommodate us, and we said we don't need it. This year, we just read the same question, because sometimes when the rain is more stronger, either you have to buy an umbrella or you have to stay just under a roof. Or a family, they say, when somebody is with a big stick, either you have to bow down or you have to run. And we just negotiated and we said, okay, we take. And they gave us just a school, a building, because we have to leave the building at the end of September. And they said we have got a place for you. And the place will be ready in the middle of April 2016. This is a yes after you collapsed. They say yes because the school is part and parcel of the daily life of all asylum seekers. The school is a political forum. The school is a meeting point. The school is a forum for discussion. The school is where we just show that different cultures with different religions live together.
I have had an opportunity of visiting the school. You had the day open door, and I was there, I attended classes, and I was really impressed with the serious work that's being done and the spirit of everybody there. And I think you have also brought us some pictures.
Yes, I will show you the pictures because I just let the pictures, I have put some which will initiate for our discussions. Because if I show you, and it will initiate some discussions whether we can hang on. And then what happened is we are in limbo now. Because we couldn't go to Schwammerdingen, it's in April, and the school has to run every day now. And then we are in Zürich. This is an old ZASB building. And this area maybe will be demolished in 2018, we know that. We have got information. But till then, there are a lot of... If the will is there, there is a lot of possibility. We need a lot, only 500. 500. Yeah. We need 500 square meters. And we accommodate more than 500 students and about 86 people, volunteers are engaged in teaching process, and some about 15 or 20, they just do some other things like raising funds, writing letters to different organizations, and so. And even now, as we are talking, we are not on the air, we are not under a roof, but we are surviving. We will survive also. Because we are always positive when we don't have anything in hand. We have been to a hall in Israel. People call it Staltex. We have done schools there. And we have got over, it was on the 4th, we have got a school in Belleville exploiting. Well, then they did their German courses for students to show that we are
In the open.
Yeah, we are ruthless. Then this a place, yeah, in Zurich. For me, I see the other way. If there is the will, there is a way. And in Zurich, maybe, I don't know, since I'm a Christian, I can just take it. There are a lot of churches who are closed. There are a lot of churches. Because the school is not only just a place to learn German. It's not only that. It's one bridge to show the asylum seekers and others treated how it's this society lives. Yes, if you close the school, we can close, if they close the school, maybe we find 500 people roaming around town. I don't know what to do. Because if I don't have time, I have to go to bath and sit there. There could be a confrontation, I don't know. Because it contains something for this society. And we can say, I can say it, is every year we invest at about 1.3 million Swiss franc volunteers. That is how the school survived.
And that's something you provide
Yeah, we provide
to
that.
this society.
Yeah, this is for the society. Well, we don't say that we provide it to the society. We live for ourselves. It's a contribution to us. Because we learn together. Because some people, they have got the know-how, they have got the ability, but they don't have the opportunity. They teach us Arabic, they teach us French in the school. Some help with mathematics, some teach us Spanish, some teach us English. And the core is the bridge, what is spoken in Zurich is German. There's the big part of it is German, and but they are good. This is one. It's not a one way. It's a two-way transaction. We learn, and this is what the best German word which I learned at the beginning was nehmen und geben. Yeah.
Berhanu, let us see the pictures, then they can also come with questions.
Okay. Well, the first thing is, because we were talking about, yesterday you have discussed about discrimination, about secularism and so on. As to me, as I said earlier, they live somewhere, they are there. We can just reduce the incidents and other things. But I don't prejudge it, or I don't put a balance to it. When you see such things,
These were votes on...
This, and then when you see this one,
this was political propaganda for votes that we took on initiatives. Like this was about...
Well, all these were initiatives raised while I was here. That's why I just take these things and you say it because I know this word discrimination, order, the others, the exclusion. They are too slippery. They are totally slippery. They depend on our perception. That's why I start with that. You can discuss on that. These are just to open up a discussion. This is for the discussion, and then we go to the other ones about the school. I brought the chronology of the school.
The third one.
Yeah?
The third one, the
No. I have to change.
Yeah, the file manager. And the third icon from the left.
Third icon from
On
the
the
left.
bottom. On the bottom, the third.
Oh, here.
Yeah, one more. Yeah. And then.
Computer. Yeah,
The bottom one. No.
No.
Oh, it's not on. Okay.
Sorry.
Maybe we lost.
The sticky, yeah. I don't see the sticky.
Sorry. For that.
Okay, that's what I have told. This is our logo. Yeah, okay, this is our logo, and then at the beginning, the logo used to have a big one, and our sisters, they told us, hey, always demand, they dominate everything, and then we have to print it a small one, to make it small one, and then what, and this is where I told you the initiation of this is the Predigerkirche in the old town. That was our, yeah.
Okay. No, just the bottom right.
Okay. This is the Predigerkirche where we started our movement as a movement, and then here is what happened in the start house. Yeah, once we just asked for rooms and they say, hey, what are you doing? And then we said, okay, we pack all our things and we just went indoors, and then here we just did German courses one Wednesday afternoon, and then we gave a placard full, a letter full of placard And then they try to they don't want to hear us, but they try to hear us. And then the same thing happened last Wednesday. We just collected 4,115 online signatures that the school can in Zürich. The school can stay in Zürich, and we just gave to the Stadtpräsidentin, Frau Mau. Und ja, wir sehen dann, so was kommt drauf, wie viel was kommt, positiv, negativ oder inzwischen. Und das ist against police control. Das was in Bachmannstraße. Then, yeah, they told us it's a hotspot. And this is the open-air school in Exclusion. That's for 4th or 6th this month. This is German class, and then what I want to tell you is just to wrap up all my discussions, and then we tried, because I started with police control. What we did is, we have to prepare a guideline, a special guideline. Where are the hotspots? So that people should not go there and control others, like Bahnhof, like the old Kalbreite, now is not. And then we have selected different quarters, and then what we did is, we asked our members, the asylum seekers and the rejected asylum, we asked them, where is the dangerous place that you feel? And they just tell us, and then what we tabulated them, and we put them in a small booklet. And then we distribute it.
So that they can avoid these places?
Yeah. That was one. And the other thing is, the school, it doesn't have any hierarchy. No hierarchy. What we have is just a flat, democratic working group. Every working group is responsible for its work. Then every working group discusses about the situation. They can decide it. After they decide it, we, as a group from all the working groups, sit together and get the decision, discuss. We don't vote. No, we don't vote.
So you discuss?
And then till we have got a consensus idea. If we don't have it, because, did I tell you something? I am grown in a socialist country, the so-called socialist country, and in socialism, when a committee did a wrong thing, you produce another committee, and then you do just in successive way. And then, sometimes I feel it like that in the school. Yeah, when we don't have any consensus, we have to find another way so that some people can break the egg. It's just like that. And then sometimes we discuss more than 7-8 hours together. And then we don't compromise, and then we go the next day. We do the next time. And every month we have got one general assembly, we discuss about things. But the working groups are functional. That is very important.
Berhanu,
Okay,
I think you have really given us an insight into a fascinating work you are doing and the world that we wouldn't know without you telling us. And you have given us a very detailed insight into it. But I still think there might be people who have questions to ask. So let them give it a chance to them. Or also
Yes.
comments?
No.
Thank you very much. So thank you very much for really very interesting and very profound description of part of this society that seems so invisible, right? And what fascinated me about your presentation is that it was picking up something that was mentioned yesterday, and we did not have time to pursue further. And it was mentioned by Jean-Pierre Misago when he talked about the dark side of democracy. And I think what you described fits perfectly somehow into that notion. And it is this idea that you have a democratic system here that in the case of asylum seekers is actually working against itself, right? By undermining the values that give it legitimacy. So the kinds of things that are done to migrants, to asylum seekers here, are a violation of the principles of that particular system. And the most worrying thing about that is not that these things are being done to asylum seekers. It is that they can be done to anybody here in this country. And the history of this country shows that those things were done. I mean, the proverbial delay that we know about concerning the vote to women here, but also what was done to particular minorities, the Fedinkinder, and so on and so on. So, I mean, the asylum issue here is really showing that there is a problem with the understanding of democracy here. So it's not a question to you. It's really, I just want to ask everybody to think about that. This goes beyond asylum seekers and so on. It's really about how people understand the very system that they think that they are defending here. And this applies to really every liberal democratic country in this world. And again, what we see in Germany, and this very surprising position, very courageous position that has been taken by the German Chancellor, to stand up for these principles. I don't know why she's doing this, but I find it really profoundly positive and so on. But I think there's an issue there, and you brought it so clearly in your presentation.
Any other comment?
No, I have a question. No, it's not. No. You're talking about these micro bonds. Did you get rid of that? Because I remember there was a time when you could buy them. You could buy the bonds and give money to your organization to spread with the seekers. But do you still get these bonds or not? I didn't get that clearly.
Okay. The micro bonds, it was overall in the, we send it to different, and then you send us money to customer. Then after they abolished the micro cards, then we have stopped. Because now what we do is we have just developed another system. Another system. Sometimes I admire the creativity of some people. She's a girl, she's about 24. And we were talking about these NOOC people or people in the emergency center, and they just get 8 francs and 60, and we said, that's not enough. What can we do? These people, they have to go to school because it's part of their life. Then she said, okay, in every Swiss family, some people, they can buy 10 francs material from Migrants. Then they have got 10 points. Then she started just a card to accumulate these points. What she did is she just opened her Migrant account, and then she sent us a delegation so that our points go to her account. Then by the end of the month, we can collect some 400, 500 francs. And then what we do that? The first thing, we just go to different emergency centers, and then we buy things for the people there, so that they save the cash, and then they buy tickets. The other one is the school. As a school, we have got Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. At least people who are coming to the school, they have to get at least one meal. And we cook Monday, Wednesday, and Friday after school. The kitchen is open for all. Because we have got the experience from the St. Jacob Church. They make Friday course, then they just serve lunch. After lunch, all the students, they come to us, they don't go home. And the same thing to Felix and Regola, there is another church, they have got Wednesday, German course, morning course. They serve lunch, after lunch, these people will come to us again. And that was what is new. It's a simple point, but it's just like collecting a drop of water to make a river.
Thank you very much. We would have time for one last question.
I would just like to say something about the school, because I also teach German there, and I think it's a marvelous thing that there is participation between Swiss people, volunteers, and asylum seekers, people who are here illegally, and they all work together. And the main people, the most important people, are the asylum seekers and the illegal people. And we talked about participation this morning, and that you can't do something for people, that you have to do it with them, or they have to do it themselves. And I think the Autonome Schule is really a very good example for that.
Thank you, Susan. I think that was a very good final word to conclude this panel. We all have have deserved lunch now. We have talked about food, isn't it? So we will share lunch and go together to the canteen of the theatre. We will lead the way, and I think we will lock the place here so that things are safe if you want to leave your belongings in that room.